All right, welcome back. We are MDEV1001 in the mobile space. And in the summer 2023 semester, I'll be okay. Mobile data management, week 11, part 2. I'm thinking about Rubik's Cube. That's what I'm thinking about, all right? And it's just not working out the right way in my head. But anyways, this is part 2 of our week 11's lecture. And where last we left off, we were talking about, we actually formed up our app and everything else, and now it's for you to do the Android piece. Well, what I said was, and I did this for MDEV1004 this week because they have the exact same problem they reported, which is, and here's what they say to me. They say, I can't figure out the Android stuff. It's too hard, right? And I'm going to tell you that it's not too hard, but I'm going to tell you it takes time, right? And we're going to have to figure out some strategies around how to make it easier. So let's do that on the iOS side. So I'm going to pull up my remote little studio. There's my remote studio. I'm just going to go back in here. And we're going to start off a brand new app, right? And I'm going to just close down some stuff eventually to do it. I'm just going to pull up Android Studio locally. Here's my Android Studio. And I think I got the latest version, right? And what I want to do is make a new project. Here's the other one that I did with them, ICE 9C. We're going to do ICE 10C for you, or ICE 10B for you, okay? So I'm going to go and click New Project, right? And now, what should I choose? Empty? So there's advantage and disadvantage from choosing empty, okay? So the advantages from choosing empty are there's nothing that's going on. There's an empty activity, right? Now there's another one. How about this one? Empty views activity. Which one should I choose? This one or this one?
I like the second one.
Why should I choose that one instead? What's the advantage of choosing that one when we start, right? It doesn't give you fragments, but also it gives you a layout folder and a res folder, which if you don't have that, if you choose the other one, it gives you nothing, right? And that's extra work that I found, that I chose the wrong one in my video that I did for them. And then it caused me extra work that I don't need, okay? Now you could choose whichever one you want because you're gonna erase everything anyway, right? But I'm gonna choose this one, empty views. Next, click next. My application name. What you should name this thing is exactly the same process that you did before. So it's gonna be MDEV1001, again, in the summer 2023, and it's going to be ICE 10B because this will be the second part of your app, okay? And then now I'm putting this in as Android Studios project files. Eventually I'll move it in. I wouldn't do that right now because then I'm doing your project for you. Okay, I'm not doing that. We're just going talking. We're talking today. All right, that's what we're doing, all right? Hey, what should I choose for an API, right? Well, it really depends what you have installed, but you know, API 24 looks like the most common recommended option. This tells you how common it is among everything else. Things not to choose. Don't choose API 33, okay? You got a very, small uptake. 15% of users out there are using API 33, whereas you want to be in the 90s. I mean, probably API 27 is okay because it's, again, 95% or 90% of users out there have it. If you choose something else as a minimum SDK version, like higher, then some users won't be able to download your app, which doesn't make sense. So keep it like this.
Yeah, especially if we're not using the other features.
Exactly. So this is okay. NuGet is a good minimum SDK, 24. 25, 24 is both probably okay. Okay? Next, so now that I've chosen this, I'm choosing Kotlin as the language, not Java, because I'm using Kotlin. If you wanted to use Java, you can do the same thing. Next, let's finish. Give it a chance. This is the next thing I always recommend. Give yourself a chance to make this work. And what I mean by that is your Android files will take some time to put themselves together. For me, it doesn't take that long because I'm using the studio, right? So it'll be 2 seconds and you'll see that Android is going to come up, right? But sometimes on some machines, this can take a couple of minutes, right, for it to come up, like your actual Android project. Do not modify anything until that comes up, okay? You can also dismiss these tips of the day, which I'm going to do. I don't need to see those. Notice it says enable auto reset color scheme and blah, blah, blah. I'm ignoring all that. And I'm waiting for Gradle to do its job. That's what it's doing down here. And again, if you remember, Gradle is just our package manager for Android. That's all it is. Just like Maven. If I was going to use Maven, I can use Maven as well. Hey, look, I got everything. Step 2, test it. All right. So here, if you notice, I've got this. And if I go to my resources, I have a layout. And inside my layout, I have my activity main, which if I open it up, I have a couple of views. I can do a split view where I can see my XML layout and the design view, or I can just look at my design view. Okay, so this is what my design view looks like. It's an empty app that says hello world. Yay. If I want to test this, a couple things we need to do when it converts from iOS to Android. Number 1, the pixel that I'm using. Is it the same size as my iPhone 14 Pro Max? Probably not, right? We need to do some work on making, if you want it to look exactly the same, then size it the same, is my recommendation for you. What was that? The XL Pro. Okay, let's use the XL Pro. So, do we have it here as a default AVD? Right? Here's my generic devices, right? So I could use something that's in here, and the way to choose this is to do a little bit of a search. Okay, so I would go back to this and say something like, Android equivalent to iPhone 14 Pro Max in pixels, pixel density and resolution. Right? So that's what you want to do. And maybe it says Pixel 7 Pro, that's what it says, but what is the PPI density of the iPhone 14 Pro Max is 460 pixels per inch. That's one thing to know. And it does, offering a resolution, 6.7 inch resolution with 2796 by 1290. That's what you need, right? So is there something like that? Remember that 2796 by 1290, okay? 2796 by thing, right? So is there something like that? If I go here to generic devices, do you see something like that? With a pixel density of 460 or is it 480 or 460?
460.
Yeah, 460. So is there something like that that you see anywhere? No, which means we need to make our own.
If you go to the phones instead of into the generic devices,
Yep.
I think the six Pro is similar.
This one,
Yeah.
Pixel 6 Pro,
Yeah.
411 by 891 DP XXX HDPI. Probably right.
I'm pretty sure that's
Probably the
Similar enough.
closest one. And so why am I doing this? Because if I choose a Pixel 6 Pro, then my AVD must also be a Pixel 6 Pro when I'm testing, right? So do I have that by default? Do I have that? Here's my device manager. Do I have a Pixel 6 Pro here? No. I need to create that, all right? So I want to create my device, and I want to choose my Pixel 6 Pro. So here it is, Pixel 6 Pro with 6.7, blah, 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 right? And I want to click next. Okay, I'm just choosing, now it says API 34, right? Is that okay to do API 34? What does this mean? People also get confused with this. You guys, your Android guys should tell you.
That's the API for the thing you're downloading, so that's fine.
That's the actual maximum API that it'll handle, 34, right? We want to handle 24, which will run just fine. Okay, that's what it means. So let's click next. Sorry, previous. Let's go back to this. ARM images, all right? So this is the image we're using. Other images. You can choose other images here as well. We don't need to do that. I'm just choosing this one and clicking next, okay? I'm just showing you that there's stuff. Here's other stuff. It says it's going to come up as Pixel 6 Pro API 34, right? It tells you this 560 DPI. Just keep that in mind. I could change it right here, okay? Where if you really want to change to really be as accurate as possible, you could change to whatever you want, okay?
Yeah, it's like there's some weirdness though, because that density isn't
460, which is going to mess things up. Not going to look right, right? So again, keep in mind what you're doing here. Cancel. So let's click finish. So we're just going to accept, okay? So you don't want to overthink this thing, guys, all right? We really don't. Next, run it. Make sure this thing can run, because if it can't run, who cares, right? And, you know, the running part, the important part is you have to wait, all right? Here's my little thing running here on the corner, right? Now, in reality, on Windows, I don't like using this. I'd rather use LD Player, right? It's a separate app that I don't use anything to do with Android on the Windows side. And LD Player or BlueStacks is my favorite way to go, right? Why? BlueStacks can run games. And if BlueStacks can run games, then it can run my little stupid app, right? And it's going to be better than this thing, by far, right? Performance-wise. So if you're going to do anything testing on this thing, that's why I have BlueStacks installed somewhere, or you should have BlueStacks installed. What I'm talking about for those people who don't know what I'm saying is BlueStacks. So if you do something like download BlueStacks, here it is. BlueStacks works nicely for for PC as well as for Mac. Okay, if I'm not wrong, here it is. Oh, it's not coming soon. But LD Player is what I also use. If I go download LD Player, so LD Player is also something that I like to use for Windows. So those are the other things that I like to use. So again, it's on PC, and if it can run a game, it can run this thing. Now, this is the great thing. Once you have your APK, you can drag it into the Windows side, and you can use it on Windows instead of using it on Mac, and it's kind of like, you know, you can test it out. However, here we don't have that. We have limitations, so I'm going to use what I have to use. Okay? So it gives for Windows, and it says Mac is coming, you know, and here it says for Mac OS. So notice it says for Mac OS here, right? And it says optimized for Windows 11, but it says coming soon. But down here for BlueStacks 4, it does have it. It says Mac OS. So you can certainly download for Mac BlueStacks 4, and it'll work just fine. Okay, that's what I recommend. Okay, back to this. Let's go back to, because I don't want to show you stuff you might not have. So let's get back to what I was doing. All right, so now that we've got this and we know that it runs, I'm going to stop it. I don't need it right now. Okay, I'm just going to put it there just so that you know, we have it when we need it. Okay, because otherwise, we're going to burn a lot of time trying to figure out that that is right or not. First thing I did, right? Because I know where I start with any Android application is the layout first. I do layouts first. I don't do activities first. The activity can come later, right? I want this thing to look exactly the same. Okay, trick. How do I make the activity look super the same, right? With minimal amount of work. What would you do? I'm going to use ChatGPT. That we know. What am I going to do? How am I going to go through this? What will I do? Come on, guys.
I didn't know you could go into the
yeah, baby. That's exactly what I'm going to do. That's exactly what I'm going to do.
up that
So let's go to that XML, right? So that's what I would do. So this XML, so if I'm going to go to GitHub for a second, you got it. So I'm going to go to github.com, and I already have it up there for you. You can always go up there and take a look at ICEs, right? And I'm going to go to the ICE 10, right? And then inside of this project, I have a base lproj, and I'm going to go into my main storyboard. Here we go. And now, what I want to do is I want to get the first part first, which is my LD player. Oh, sorry, my login page. So this is the page I want first. So I grab this whole scene, whoop, all the way down to here. I'm going to copy it. Now then I'm going to go over here and go, hey, ChatGPT. Here is a UI made with iOS for a login view controller. Create a similar one. No. Create a layout in Android that looks as close to the iOS as possible, close to the iOS UI as possible. And then just paste it in. Doop. Yeah, baby. That's what I can tell you, right? And it talks about a couple things, right? It says that you also need this rounded edit text.xml because this is in a drawable class. So now what would I do first? This, because this is required for the other UI to work, because this is a drawable, right? So I'm going to take this drawable first, this shape that's going to draw rounded corners for me, right? So I'm going to copy this code, and I'm going to go to my drawable first, right? And that's inside of my drawable. I'm going to go and I'm going to add a new, right, drawable resource file. That's what I'm going to do, right? And now this is going to be called, now please be careful, you have to call it the exact same thing, which is something like a rounded edit text.xml. That's what it has to be, because I'm using the same thing. So I'm going to say rounded underscore edit text. It's all lowercase. Yep. Dot. Brought it. It's going to make it XML. And the drawable thing, it's going to be selector. I'm going to press OK. And it's going to give me this stuff in here. And then I'm just going to replace all this with my code. Rounded box, right? Which is going to create that effect that I want. Okay? And it even gives me the colors. Okay, I'm not sure if they're right, but they're there, right? Okay, next. Now that I have that, I want to make another layout. So I'm going to go new layout resource file, right? And this is going to be called, let's go back to what it recommends. Here we go at the top. It's going to be called activity login XML. So activity login, right? Start with this, right? And we start with this, press OK. Really nothing else to do, right? And the activity login, I'm going to go code only. And I'm going to grab this code right here, copy it, go back here and replace all this with that, right? And now there's some things, okay? There's some things. You know, there are going to be some places where it gives you errors, and what do you do with those errors? Why does it give me errors, first of all? If it gives me errors, I got 5 errors here. Why do I have 5 errors? Do you see the errors? Sorry, what was that? I could do that, right? But here I'm not electing to do that, and I'm going to ignore it.
I think the only one you're having that will be an issue is that I think it has a couple color ones.
Well, even those, it doesn't really matter, right? But it's not, look at, see where it says color primary?
Yeah.
Right? What the hell is color primary? What is that, right? I need to add it. I need to also do the ID, which is something that's right. So color primary doesn't compute, right? So in the color values, right, in the values, right? Does it even have colors? I don't even think it does. Doesn't.
I don't know if it always has a default.
No, it's here. Look in the list. I don't have colors, right? If I did, it'd be right here in values, right? I have to make one. So let's make one. So we'll say new, right? Values resource file. And we want to make it for color, right? And now be careful. You want to make it match what it says here, color. That's what it is, color. Add color is what it's looking for. So color is what it's going to be here. Because I want to make it match, okay? Here's color. But did ChatGPT give me the color values here ever? Which is what I'm going to do, right? Which is like, please include the color value XML. You didn't give this to me. You didn't give this to me.
If you choose the other one,
Mm-hmm. It already has it.
You get a colors XML,
But
it's an empty.
look, it's got give me green and color primary. It gives me those two things, which is what I want. Copy code, go back, go over here, paste it in.
The other empty one, it gives you a color.
But it's not going to give you this, which means who cares,
It won't
right?
give you those values.
All right, there we are. So that's this one done.
It did give colors.
Yeah, yeah.
Now it gave.
No. I put them.
You made that.
I pulled them in from here.
No, color XML. At the
Oh, damn.
Now
Okay. Well, you know what? I'll change that. That's messed up. That's just me.
I think that is if it rebuilds,
Yeah.
you get the default colors from
takes time to get there.
Android.
Let's just add those back in. I'll use colors instead of color.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's standard. That's what I'm saying. That was not standard. Let's get rid of this file. So delete.
It's lower.
It was supposed to be. I think it will not.
Yeah, and I was surprised. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then now because this is wrong, then login. If I go to my login activity, then this should say colors, not color.
No. Color is actually.
Color is the property.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's going to work.
And those IVs will work themselves.
They'll work anyway. So I only have 4 errors right now, which is okay. And so now let's see what it looks like in design.
And I'm not 100% sure, but I think if you just put the plus sign in front of the at color, it actually would have
Made it for me. Yeah.
done its job.
Yeah, it would have.
But you would have gotten a different color. We would have gotten, who knows.
I got a problem though, right? So that's a button, and I didn't want a button. I wanted a link, right? Because it sees it as a button, because it is a button in iOS, right? But my button looks like a link, right? So, and it's pretty damn dark, so it's not quite right. But here's what it did for me, right? Going back to my friend Hitesh, I'm looking at you, right? I have no code. I didn't do any of this work. I didn't do layouts and drag and drop anything. It did it, and I didn't have to worry.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
Okay, so therefore, the only thing I need to do is change the background of this. So let's go back to ChatGPT and say, you gave me a button for the register link. Please change this to a link on the Android side. Will it do it? Will it do it? Right? And so here's edit text, there's the button, there's the text view, there's another text view, and then it's a linear layout. And I don't see a link anywhere, do you? Okay, so let's see. It says it replaced it.
Did it just give you an on-click event for the
Let's see.
text?
Let's see.
I think that's what it did.
Yeah, it probably did it. Let's take a look, code, and let's just select all. And I didn't want that, but that's okay. Right? I don't know why I did that, but that's
Yeah,
fine.
it did. It's just clickable.
Yeah, that's not what I wanted, right? And if I go to design,
Close enough. It's
much
fine.
better,
Yeah.
right? There it is, much better. And it doesn't quite look exactly like iOS, but it's darn close for
Yeah.
me to do nothing. Let's do the next view. You see where I'm going with this, guys?
Yeah.
Do your views first, make them all, because without views, you can't do any testing, right? My views are the most important part. That's where I start, right? Okay, now let's do the next part. So let's do another couple views. So I want to do the next one, right? So I'm going to go back to this one. I've got that piece, and oh, sorry, it's in here. It's in my, I did it from here, from Chrome. So I'm going to go into this, and I'm going to go back to the next view, which is the register view. So here's my register view. I'm just going to grab this right here, and this is my tricks, like I say, to make sure it works, right? So this is this part, copy, and go here.
General question. Does it, in the XML, does it know where the segues go?
No,
No. I didn't think so. I wasn't sure.
no, you have to do all that,
Yeah.
right? But I mean, at least it gives you all the layout, right? So
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
This is way faster. But I was wondering if it would, like, if it had, like, segue destination as one of those data things with the
Do
XML.
not take that away from it. It's showing it.
Hey,
Showing the
if
magic.
I
Here's
can make
another XML
ChatGPT
file
do
representing
even
the
more work,
iOS.
I'm gonna make ChatGPT do even more work.
absolutely. Create a very similar one in for Android.
And it doesn't need the triple backtick anymore. It's just, it's like, okay, here's XML. Yeah.
Doesn't need any of that anymore.
So
Okay, look at that.
ChatGPT growing up so fast.
Well, that's because I paid for it, remember?
I think you're using ChatGPT 3.
It is 3.5. 3.5, same thing. Certainly, here's the Android XML, blah, blah, blah. Now, do I need anything else from here that I'm missing? Well, I'm just going to preview it here because, does it need colors or anything else like that down here that it's going to use? We'll have my edit text, and then way back here I have buttons, and the buttons are using the color green. I don't have a color green, do I?
Yes, you do.
Okay, and then there's a color primary, so I'm using the same colors.
Yeah.
Good. So second one, copy code. I'm going to go back to Android Studio, and I'm going to make another layout. So new layout resource file. We need to call it the same thing. What was it called again? It's called. It didn't name it.
You didn't
But,
tell me
So what we called the last one was activity login. We'll call this activity register. Activity register. Okay.
you can, in Android Studio, you can create an activity and create the layout file.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah. I'm just doing it like the stupid, lazy way. That's what I'm doing. I'm being lazy, man. Lazy.
You could like
Right?
making the activities, naming
Hey,
them,
Hitesh, what do you think?
and then still getting all the code.
Is it sweet? Isn't it sweet?
Right?
Okay. Let's do the next one. Let's do the add edit view. Okay. So add edit. With the main one that we're going to do, is going to be something else. We're going to call that. We're going to leave that in place for now because I'm leaving main in place so it doesn't break the app right now, because otherwise it's looking for main in my main activity, right? And what I may do is rename my login activity to the main activity, because that's really what the main activity is, my login activity, right? Again, we'll see how this works. So then the next part would be, I'm going to go into new layout resource file, and we're going to call this, this is the add edit. So we'll call this add edit activity. Add edit. What was that? Is it add edit? What is it?
Your other one for activity underscore. Okay.
Rename. Okay, happy? All right, so then we go into code, and what I'm going to do is just go back to this and say, okay, here is the iOS XML for the add edit view controller. Create a similar one in Android. And going back to this, I'm going to go skip down to where it says the add edit down in here. I'm not doing this one yet. That's the harder one. All right, because I got to tell it that I'm going to use instead of a table view, I want to use a recycler view. So I'm doing that last. This one's a big one. All right, it takes up a lot of time, and it goes all the way down to here. All right, so. By the way, here's something of a question for you guys. Oops, not here. Why don't I just take the entire thing and tell ChatGPT to do it all? Why don't I just take it and say, here are my view controllers, right? Here's all my view controllers. Get them, do them all. Why can't ChatGPT do that? Too goddamn long right now, right? Not eventually. Eventually it'll take like multiple files, and everything else, right? For now, this is already, in the baby phase of ChatGPT.
There's even, I believe there's ones that have been made available to the public, but they might not be yet, where you can upload files.
Not yet.
Instead of copy pasting.
Yeah.
Like they're either almost there or they're going to be soon, where you can upload a file to something.
Okay, let's see. So again, I'm just going to just revamp this part, put it in there, and it looks like we're pretty good. I don't think there's any errors. there's stuff missing from this thing. Like we don't have any events. None of them are, we don't have any on-click anything. Those things we have to add. Like you have to do some work here, okay? But the beautiful thing is, you know, now you have an edit movie. Okay, now here's the problem. I don't like it. The edit movie title is at the bottom. It's complete. No, it's not. It's not exactly right. The edit movie title should be at the top, and the cancel update buttons are wrong. They're the wrong color, right? And also the it's not quite organized properly, right? So what do I tell ChatGPT to fix this problem? Going back to this, it's I can say no. I would like you to keep the layout the same as iOS. You have the title appearing in the middle of the Android layout. As well, I would like the buttons to be embedded in a linear layout so that they appear next to each other. The cancel button, you gotta be careful how much you give it here. Cancel button should be on the left side, and the update button should appear on the right side. Give them the same color scheme. So you cannot accept it. You say, nope, I don't like it. Do it again, right? And because that's a problem, right? It doesn't look like you know, you've got a problem. Let's see if it does what I asked it to do. Copy code and go back to this. Let's do a split this time so we can see it in real time. And replace.
Yeah, I thought that was what was gonna happen.
What happened to the rest of my stuff? Right? What happened? It just
There's a
deleted
comment.
it.
It says exactly what it says right there.
Yeah.
Add other text view and edit views here.
Yeah. Please, when I say please, you know what my friend Robert and the other class says? Why are you saying please? It's just a thing. Because you never know where our machine masters are going to come back at us, right?
Because
Please
whenever
give
I
me
up,
the complete layout file. Do not use placeholders or comments for the missing data. But at least it did what I asked it to do. It just didn't do everything that I asked it to do. Let's see if it did this time.
Yeah, you already have more.
Nope.
You have more of them, but
No.
not as many as you need.
No, I need all of them. I need all text files. No, I need the complete layout. I need all the
Oh, I think using placeholder
text edit and text views. Right? Is it called text views? Linear layout, text view, and text edits. Edit text. Sorry, edit text. Okay. Do not omit anything.
Yeah, that's a better.
Give me the complete code. Right? And by the way, there is I'm using the paid for version. And I'm going to show you that there is a new feature that they've been beta testing. Let's see if it's going to do it now.
Yeah, that's
Okay, don't allow it, guys. Like if it gives you something that's half baked, just ignore it. Do it again. Okay, didn't quite do what it's supposed to do. Where's my buttons? How come these buttons don't appear?
because your layout is too long for your view.
Okay, what's the problem? Why is my layout too long for my view?
No spaces,
Hmm?
paddings.
Well, so a couple things, right? One, you have quite a big space
Yeah.
for these things. Like,
Right.
so these 17 SPs, that's the text size, right? Do they have to be 17 SPs?
I think the min height 34 is
So min height 34, that's what it was, remember, on a 460 wrap, right? So it's too much. So what can we do to make it smaller?
maybe.
So instead of 34 dp, can we make it something like 20 dp?
I also think your
So let's just do a,
edit movie is in the wrong spot.
it
Not-
is.
that one, I'm not
That's
sure.
not, yeah, so that should be right at the top.
I'm not sure if that's because in our XML file it
No.
could be in the
Well,
wrong
look, here's
spot.
the text view, right? And the text view is title label. Title label appears way down here, right? So I'm gonna go
No,
back.
That's your title label. It literally says title. It's for your title text.
Right, so this part, which is this, is here, right? So it's just in the wrong spot. It's actually at the bottom for some reason. So this is, we just remove. Well, I'm not gonna get ChatGPT to do this part. Like, there's parts you just not do, all right? Like, you don't have to get everything done the same way. They're my buttons, but they're not right. We want to do it so that you have everything in there. And we're going to do a search. We're going to search for 34 dp. So we're going to do a find replace, right? Can we do a find replace in this thing?
What if you just take that 16 dp down to 80 in your linear layout instead of each one? I think you were giving 16 having each.
Okay, let's do it. Let's do 8. Okay. Still didn't quite do it, right? That's what I'm saying. I think it needs more. Like, these things are too big. So, like 34 dp, anything that has, like, for this one here, this edit text, which is 34 dp, and all of them that are 34 dp, right? It's too much. This is where you use values for this, as opposed to like hard-coded values like this. You change one thing, it changes them all, right? And if we were making this into a quote-unquote real app, then I would do that. I would say, screw this, I'm gonna make values. So how do we fix it? So go back to code. I wanna do a find replace. So how do I do a find replace here with thing? So I'm gonna do edit, right? And I wanna do a find, right? And I wanna search in selection. Let's select everything,
It's up already.
right? Where? I'm missing it?
That tab is actually at the top of the screen there is the find.
Where? Where I'm missing it?
It's where you're highlighted. And then that's actually the find view there.
In here, I mean.
Yeah, yeah.
So I want to find 34 dp, right? That's what I want to find. So any place that has 34 dp in this whole entire mess, right? 34 dp, correct?
Bubble reports?
34 dp, and I want to replace.
Funny.
No, it's under find. I don't know why it's.
Oh, it
No,
was
that's not
no,
right.
that's not.
That sucks.
I think it should come here. Is there an extra space? Yeah.
No
Yeah.
selection.
You'll have to clear the extra space. Very
It's
sensitive.
looking for 34 new characters, new line characters, I guess.
That's just my bad.
But the small arrow besides the search,
Command F, command out.
Where?
By the
Yeah,
command
yeah.
out.
yeah.
Plus command out.
Oh.
Where?
Command or
Command R. Thank you. And then you replace with here.
Ah.
And you do, what do we want? Do you want 20 or 24? Maybe 24,
24, yeah.
right? And then we have to replace
You
all.
can't find it in
There are,
it's
there are.
very strange.
There is, see? The clear box.
Okay.
I got 9 results.
Let's go back to our design.
See, in our week 6 we had to split the length and the year are
Oh, yes,
half.
yes, 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 that's another thing. Okay, let's,
Something else was too.
so let's do, but that would need a linear layout for that as well. You have to put like those in a linear layout as well, right? So year and length, and what else?
Yes, that's what it was.
What is it?
Ratings.
Yeah, we put
Okay,
them side by
we need to do this here, right? There's too much to do. So, please also put the, what was that?
I think I just turned the.
No, I
into
refuse.
a scroll
No, I
view.
refuse, right? Put the,
No, it's just
put
like,
the,
the layout will be fine. Don't worry about it. Just go into
put
a
the,
scroll view.
please also put the year and the, what is it? Year and the, no, the year and the
the year and the length.
length next to each other, embedded in a linear layout.
You really wouldn't mind.
And also put the critics rating and the MPA rating next to each other in the same way. Show me the entire code No. Show me all the edit text and text views. No substitutions. No. How about this? This looks good. Okay. And you might think that like this is going a little crazy what I'm doing, but I want you to consider what I'm trying to do. This is a good exercise for you guys when it comes to the stuff you're doing for your project. Your project, I want you to do two things at the same time. It's right here, right? It's like continue generating. Because what you want to do is make it as similar as possible. Imagine the user experience, right? The user experience that you're going to get back from your users. If your iOS looks different or better than your Android, or vice versa, right? You don't want that. You want it to be the exact same as, or as close as possible, without doing too much manicuring, right? So again, let's go back and change that up. So we're going to have to make some changes, right? We know that this edit text, which is the actually, I don't know if it did what it did now. Let's take a look. All right, this one.
I think
Splits.
if you just tap up, because you're in a linear layout, it should move up to the top.
Well, here it is right here. Here's this edit movie label. So this is what I want. I want to cut this out. And I want to move this to the top. Did it put the buttons on in another linear layout or no?
I think so.
No, I don't think it did. I think it omitted the last part, right?
It may have skipped through when it I find if it generates, sometimes it misses like a closing bracket or a brace. Like it's like in between the responses.
And you said 8 if you're
Yeah.
short description is here. What the hell is this? Like it didn't quite do it, right? And we still got more to do. Did it do the buttons in a linear layout? It did not. See?
They are.
No, they're not.
Oh, they're not. Sorry, it's the other one.
It's like it forgot what I asked it to do before. So I'm just
I
gonna
normally at this point when I've done
just do it by
3 or
yourself.
4 changes.
Yeah.
No, I'll recopy and say here's what you've given me so far. And
Oh,
I'll
yeah.
make these changes.
Well, here it is. I'm just literally just copy pasting their own parts, right? So
Yeah.
What did it do wrong?
Oh. Oh, I think you got a little bit of text underneath that block.
No, it's got an extra linear layout. So,
No, like outside of the code, you got the little text too. That's what happened. That's why you got all those errors. And a bunch of.
all right, so what can I do to fix it? So what is this? Right, this is this part, which is my MPA rating, right? And what's this part? Critics rating. So critics rating is like, what's this part? So you see what's happened? It didn't allow me to do it side by side, right? And it did put it in another linear layout, but it also has two parts to it, right? So it needs to be put in. It doesn't quite look right because what's happened is they're on top of each other, right?
Yeah.
So again, this is like where you have to go in manicures, but you see what I'm doing, right? Like I'm not going to go through it. This takes time, okay? It's back to what you said. This takes time, but still, I got all this. Now I just have to correct it,
Yeah.
right? So that's the next part. Now the tough part, which is the recycler view, okay? So again, I'm going to go here. I'm going to say, okay, not quite right. You put, you know, I can say something like the MPA rating and the critics rating might need another layout, as the linear layout puts the text view and the edit text on top of each other. So I'll let it play with that for a second. And what I want to do now, I don't care about that. I'm not even gonna do anything. But then what I would do is the next piece. Now that I've got all these layouts, I want to do the final layout, which is this part. Now I'm taking a long time to explain this for a reason. I want you guys to understand my thinking, right? And how this could be done better. Also, I'm standing up, right? I'm, copy pasting stuff here. And when I'm at my home computer, I want to work a lot faster, right, than this, right? So this looks slow. Don't worry about it. And this would be called the, kind of the CRUD view controller, right? The CRUD view. Now remember, this is also the movie CRUD view, I think is what we called it. Movie CRUD activity,
Yeah.
I think is what we might call it. So I'm going to make the activity first. I'm going to say new layout resource file. We're going to say activity. If I can spell it properly, activity movie CRUD, right? And once I have that, I'm going to go into the code view. And I'm going to go back into here. I'm going to copy this part. I'm going to go into this part. And I'm going to say continue generating for a second. Okay. So what did it do to fix it? I'm just curious. Linear layout, text view, edit text. They're on top of each other again. I don't think they did anything. Did they? Wrap content, layout weight 1. You have to put them next to each other. 8 dp, 17. I don't think it made a difference. Look, and they're also using 16 dp here. That's another thing that you can do to make it a little bit tighter. It needs work, anyways. It needs work. But still, we have everything there. We just have to move them around in XML, which is what I would do. I would actually go back to ChatGPT and go do these little things. I want these next to each other. No, that's not right. No, that's not. And I keep doing it until I get it right. And then after I finish it, go back and do this one. But this is the last one I want to do because we're going to run out of time. Because you can see how long this takes, right? Okay. Now I have the movie CRUD view controller UI from iOS. Create a similar one in Android, show, I want to use, instead of a table view, let's use a recycler view. Now give me two files.
I think you can get a couple actually.
Yeah. So this is good. So going back to this one, it says activity movie CRUD, which is what I have. This is this part, okay? Activity movie CRUD. So I'll copy this one, and this is the relative layout, and it's giving me a recycler view widget, right? That's okay. It's going to give me a bit of issues because it doesn't know, my application right now does not know what a recycler view is, right? So if I hover over for some of this stuff, also, you know, these hollow blue light, hollow red light, all that stuff, it doesn't know what it is. Okay, so this part, the recycle view widget, it should give me an error, but it doesn't. I'm curious why, right? It should, because it doesn't know what a recycle view is.
Doesn't
And hold on.
Android have recycle view embedded now?
Oh, I don't know.
I think with Kotlin they did that.
So create a new movie layout file for movie item row. So copy movie item row for layouts, right? So again, layout, new, layout resource file, movie item row. Movie item row, right? And in my code, highlight it and put it in. And this gives me my everything I need for this. And then in my activity movie CRUD, right, it's given me some issues for the color. So I'm going to say provide the color values. Did it give it to me actually? Let me see if it did. It did not. Give me a lot of other stuff, but not that stuff. Okay, please provide the color values. I don't need it all again, just that, okay? Here are the color values. Look at that. So I'll take all this stuff and I'll go back to color. What was that?
Said just scanning through them. I don't think it gave you your tints and stuff.
Oh, we'll see. If not, image buttons. Okay, what's this? Activity movie CRUD. Give me a layout. What's this? Apply these colors to the layout elements. Activity movie CRUD XML. Apply these colors to movie item row. Okay, that's not what I wanted. But
It's trying to replace the when you scan the ratings
Yep.
colors.
Yep. Okay. Image button. No. No. Give me these colors. No. Give me these tint colors so that as values. You see what I'm doing, right? I'm forming up what I want, right? And then once I've got them, there we go, primary and accent color. Are those the tint colors? I don't think I got those.
No, it
Replace them.
It was literally like I had red tint blah 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 in here.
Okay, so you gave me, I'm gonna say you gave me this, right? Here, let's copy this thing. This is what it gave me, right?
I think the next one up.
Hollow red, no, this is a color hollow red,
Yeah.
right? You gave me this. Now give me these color values. There we go. Tint logout button, is that what it gave me?
Yeah.
Or did it replace it again?
I believe it changed the color, but it actually did give you. Oh.
Yeah, hollow red and hollow blue. Okay, that's what I need. So I don't need all of this. Nice, but I don't need all those. I just need this. Right? I think. And let's see if that solved my issue with this one. Android color, hollow red light. Hollow red light.
Oh, they're like the actual Android ones. They're not from the colors.
Oh crap.
So you just have to change them in that to tint logo, logo button, and tint add button as the color.
Sorry, let's go back here. Android tint. Android color. Sorry, so what do you want me to do? Say that again?
If you change
In
that-
here.
Nope. In the row.
Yep.
If you change the value of the Android tint to that color, was that on the login button tint? What you was?
Like this.
That color, and then whatever it named it in the color.
I don't think it named it that. I think it named it
Yeah, it's like logout.
Android color tint. Or tint, sorry, tint
Yeah,
logout
you
button.
need that name, yeah. Tint logout.
Tint logout and tint add button. Tint logout. It's just easier to replace. And this is the image button. This is the
Yeah, it's
logout button.
Logout button.
Yeah.
So that the ID is
Tint logout. Why did not this not work? Must use app tint instead of Android tint. Oh, you know why, right? It's deprecated.
Oh.
What did it do? It took it away.
It moved it to the bottom.
Okay.
Put your Androids first and then your app stuff.
So then actually we didn't need to do that. Because I could have just done it like that too. But we'll just to keep consistent, we'll do the same thing. Tint add button, right? Okay. How does this look? Is it right? Is this right? Is these right?
Lower, the recycling has to starting from maybe top padding 50.
So there's the recycler view.
Recycling to the bottom of favorite.
Should it use recycler view? Or sorry, should it use a relative view, or should it use a what other kind of layout can we use?
We have constraint layout.
Constraint layout might be the best way to go, right?
Yeah.
Right. So
I think you do right. Put the relative change to a constraint.
Yeah, you can do that.
Convert relative to constraint.
Or maybe try to charge it.
it will recursively remove all other nested layouts in the hierarchy as well as such that you need up with a single flat layout. This is more efficient. Include custom views. I think we need that. And that didn't really fix everything.
Well, now you just need to
Constraint.
you have to put the constraints
Yeah, but that sucks. That's no. I'm gonna go back. no, there's too much work here. So, because then I have to go through each thing and constrain them all. No, let's use, okay, now, let's convert what you gave me from a relative layout to a constraint layout. Use appropriate constraints. Include all views. Show all the code, right? Because if you don't do that, bad things happen to good people and it's not going to work. You didn't do it.
Well, really.
It did add the constraints, look.
Yeah, I'm just not sure it's going to look the way that you want it to.
Well, don't worry, I'm going to keep giving it, feeding stuff until it gives me what I want, right? So that's what it comes down to, right? How much do you want to play with this is the question. And now these got to be fed into the bottom. Fix. Fix. And why does this not look good? Right, because it doesn't quite look right. And where is my recycler? So the recycle view itself is here.
It's constrained to all four sides of the parent.
And we don't want that. We want it to be lower. And I wonder if I can grab this, the whole thing, and move it down. So it says layout width is 0, layout height is 0. That takes the entire thing, right?
Yeah, that matches its constraints.
Bottom end to bottom, horizontal, start to stop is parent, start of parent. I don't want that. I want to start.
Top to bottom of whatever the favorite movies.
But that's not even right. Favorite movie should be first up here, right outside of our recycler view. So image buttons. These buttons also should be out of the recycler view.
Yeah, so I think.
So let's move those away. Let's grab this. So, so I'm gonna go back to ChatGPT. Okay. The image views, image buttons. Sorry, image buttons, and the title do not belong in the recycler view.
That might actually fix it.
Yep, I think it will. Again, it just doesn't know what you want, right? I know, guys, this is like watching paint peel when you watch me do it. You might do it a completely different way, and I'm spending a lot of time on this, right? Now I want, we're almost there, because look, the recycle view is actually down here now, right? Now I want the, whatchamacallit, the favorite movies centered. Well, this is also, these are also problems that I gotta keep fixing. I can also tell it that, right? But now I want I can keep going with this, and I can say I want these two buttons centered, right? Or I want the log up button on the left side of the screen. I want the log up button, favorite movies title, and the add button on the same row. So embed these in a linear layout, right? So I want the log out button, title label, and add button displayed in the same row. Embed these in a linear layout. The log out button should be on the left, and the add button should be on the right. Add appropriate constraints. Show me all the code. Show me all the code. Right, there we go. Okay. Do I agree? Here's my image button, here's my text view, here's my other image button, here's a linear layout. I only need this part. What do you think? So I'm going to replace these things with this thing. Where?
So the linear layout, or your title layout. So instead of it going to the title label, it needs to go to the layout, because the layout and the recycler view are siblings, not the label inside of the layout.
I mean, this Android, this ID right here for title layout.
Yeah, so for the recycler view, it's
Recycle, you can just come
top
right.
to bottom of the title label, it can't go there because it's a sibling. It's not a sibling, so it has to go to the
Right.
layout instead,
And you have to give it out.
and that should fix it.
Top to bottom.
Unless it doesn't have a bottom.
Yeah, title layout.
Oh yeah, so
Yeah,
it would have.
There we go.
Yeah.
It's still not quite right because they're very, very close in here, which means you have to do some adjustments in here.
You can just
Well,
do it
that
top.
would be on the rows, right?
Yeah.
At the spacing and stuff on there.
Well, theoretically. But look, it didn't do a bad job, right? It did exactly what I wanted it to do, right? So again, guys, what is this exercise that I'm doing? I'm going through, the first thing that I would do is do exactly what I'm saying to you, for you to do here, right? Which is do this, do all your layouts first. Your user interface, remember I talked about this, is the most important part. Once you have this in, now it's the next part. Now I need to take my code, my actual view controller, one by one, and say, here's my code. I want you to convert this to Android. Okay, here's all my code. I want you to convert this to Android. No, this, I don't want you to give me examples. I want you to convert it directly to Android. This is the way. And I want to use retrofit in motion. Say it like that. Then it'll give you some files. And the first files it'll give you is different services that you have to put in. All prep everything before any of the activities, right? And then once you have those in, you know, I would say, okay, given these, what I'm going to say now is, given these, you know, these layouts, here are the views given these layouts. And if I need to, now that I have the layouts, I can take those layouts that it gave me, copy it back into ChatGPT because it forgets.
Yeah.
Right? Does it make sense? Is that helpful for you, what I just did? Because if you don't do this, right? By the way, we haven't talked about how it does the segue, which is the intent, how it does any of this stuff. We haven't talked about any of that stuff with ChatGPT. We need to tell it, right? And slowly, slowly, it'll put everything together, right? You can see that this clearly takes some time, right? But once we get it done the first time, like maybe next week I'll have this example I've built for you so you can see it, what it looks like, right? And it doesn't take long. It's just me putzing around and doing exactly what I did. No, I want it like this. No, I want it like this. No, this isn't right. Do it like this. No, take this in. I want the color values. I want this. Okay, now take all these things and I want you to put all these things, make strings for all these things. You know, what does it look like? And then I'll go through and I'll feed it back what it gave me and I'll say, add these to the strings and rejuvenate my file, right? So then I'll do that, copy it back in. Do that, copy it back in. And keep doing that until everything is actually as it should be. Make sense? Okay. That's my example for today, and we're going to get there. You can see that this doesn't take 2 seconds, right? Maybe erroneously I said it doesn't take anything. It's just a copy-paste operation. Well, it kind of is a copy-paste operation. But it does take some work, and you are getting paid for it in marks. So please take it seriously, is what I'm saying. Do the proper job. Try and make it as similar as possible to iOS. It's good practice for you, and it'll help you with your project, okay? That's it for me, guys. Thank you so much. I'll see you guys next week for the people that are doing this part-time. For the other people, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Now, for tomorrow's class, for the people that are here in tomorrow's class, I know this isn't part of this recording, but I'm saying it anyway, right? Just to get a poll of the people that are here. Hitesh, you gonna be here tomorrow,
I'll be here
Jason?
too.
right? And
Yes.
Indu? How about you guys? Maybe, right? Maybe, right? No, right? So it's only going to be 3 of you tomorrow. So here's the thing we can do. Why don't we do this remote tomorrow, right? And this way we can do, since we're not going to be here, you guys are going to be here, right? You're not going to be here. And, you know, my man Eric is not going to be here. So I figured we just do it. There's only going to be 3 of us and me. Let's just do it remote. And then what we'll do for tomorrow is, I want to make it a work session. So that means that I want to get an update from each of the teams. Hopefully they'll all be here for tomorrow so we can get each of the teams kind of an update on how everyone's doing is what I want to try and do. And I'll make an announcement tonight. I'll send an announcement out saying, guys, don't come tomorrow for some random person that came today. Hopefully some random person's not going to come tomorrow, right? And then we'll be okay, right? And I'll plot out what we're going to do. There's no more website stuff. The website's done, all right? The stuff that we did. So we're not doing any more website stuff. That was just getting you going on making an admin website, right? But we will talk about some other stuff like publishing your app, getting your app ready. And I also want to talk about the beta release details, which is what I'm going to spend more time on tomorrow than anything else. It should not be a long session, okay? We should be kind of in and out, okay? Make sense?
Makes sense.
All right, that's it for me, guys. Thank you so much, and I'll see you for the rest of you guys tomorrow. Thank you.